know from time to time, I personally can get stuck in a rut of either not knowing what to cook for dinners or feeling like I'm cooking the same things over and over again. So if you're anything like me and you're searching the internet for new recipes and meal plans for the week, then you're in the right place. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing a week's worth of simple and healthy dinner recipes that are all focused on whole food ingredients, packed with protein, and are also just perfect for the busy weeknights. All of the recipes I'm going to be sharing today are all gluten and dairy free. I personally avoid these food groups for health reasons, but none of these recipes require any crazy substitution. So really all that means is that they just focus on clean whole food ingredients. So I hope you get some dinner inspiration from today's video. Without further ado, let's get cooking. The first recipe we're going to make is a roast chicken dinner, and I know you're probably thinking, I thought you said it was going to be simple, but I promise you guys, a roast chicken is actually super easy to make. You don't need to be intimidated by it. All you need to do is chop up half of an onion, a lemon, take some fresh rosemary, and then I just prepped the seasoning blend, which I'm just using salt, pepper, garlic powder, and paprika. And then I season the inside of the cavity, stuff it with our fresh rosemary, our onion, and our lemon. And then you just tie the legs with some butcher's twine. And then I coat the entire chicken with some avocado oil, and then you just season it on the bottom and the top, and then that's all you need to do to prep your chicken. And then the oven does the rest of the work. It does need to cook for quite some time, so that's just one thing to keep in mind, but it is pretty hands-off. Next, I'm just prepping some mashed sweet potatoes. So I just peel and chop my sweet potatoes, and then I'm cooking these in my Instant Pot with just a little bit of water, and I use the pressure cooker setting, set that for 18 minutes. And then when it's done, I just strain out the water, add that back to the Instant Pot, add some sea salt, some cinnamon, and some coconut oil, and then mash that all together. And then for the other side, we're just sauteing some green beans. This is really easy because you don't need to chop these. And then I just add in some minced garlic, some salt, and some pepper, and then put the lid on it until they're nice and tender. And then look how beautiful our roast chicken came out. I'll spare you guys me carving this thing because it was kind of tricky. Other than that, it's super easy to make, and it's like having a mini Thanksgiving anytime you want. This was so good. Next, we're making some Korean inspired beef bowls, and I say Korean inspired because these are not authentic by any means. I start by just prepping the veggies for this, which I thinly slice a cucumber and shred some carrot, and I marinate that with some coconut aminos, some rice vinegar, a little bit of maple syrup, and some salt, and then I mix that together. And then you're gonna wanna let these sit for a little bit so that the veggies get nice and tender. And then I'm starting our rice on the stove top. And now I'm just dicing an onion to cook with our ground beef. And then you're just gonna cook that on the stovetop with some olive oil, and then add some minced garlic, saute those for a couple minutes, and then add in your beef. And then once that's pretty much all the way done cooking, you're going to season that with some salt and pepper, ginger, and some coconut aminos, and a little bit of sriracha. And that's all you need for the beef. And now we're just prepping a spicy mayo sauce with some avocado oil mayo, some coconut aminos, some sriracha, and some maple syrup. And then you just mix that together. And now it's time to assemble our bowls with our rice, our beef, our marinated veggies, some avocado, and our spicy mayo sauce. And I topped it off with a little bit of green onion. And these are so good. You guys have to try them out. Next, we're making some fish taco bowls. I start by just slicing up some red cabbage, and then we're going to marinate the cabbage with some lime juice, some salt, and a little bit of rice vinegar, and this just helps get the cabbage nice and tender. And then we're just going to set that aside for a little bit. And now I'm just prepping the marinade for the fish with some olive oil, some lime juice, some salt, some cumin, paprika, chili powder, onion powder, and garlic powder. Mix that all together and then just pour that over our mahi-mahi and then let that marinate for a little bit while we prep some other stuff. I got 3 beautiful, perfect avocados on this day, so it was a good day. And now for the guacamole, I'm just going to mash up the avocados in a bowl and add some diced red onion and some cilantro, and then add in some lime juice and some salt and pepper and mix that together. Next, for the cilantro lime rice, you're actually going to toast the rice in with some avocado oil for just a couple minutes before adding in the water, and then you're going to let that cook. And in the meantime, I'm going to cook our fish on the stove top, and this actually shreds up really easily once it's done cooking, so I just did that with a pair of tongs. We're going to prep our sauce, which is just some avocado oil, mayo, some lime juice, some cumin, paprika, and some garlic powder, and then mix that together. And then once your rice is cooked, you're going to add in your cilantro, your lime juice, and some salt, and then just combine that. And now it's time to assemble our bowls with our rice, our fish, our red cabbage, some guacamole, and our sauce. And these came out so good. This is one of my favorites at the moment. Next, we're making a chicken stir fry. I feel like everybody needs a good stir fry in their dinner rotation because they're so easy and you can really use whatever veggies you have on hand. Today, I'm using an onion, some zucchini, some red bell pepper, and carrots. And then I'm also going to add some broccoli as well. And then I'm just starting the rice on the stove top to serve on the side. And then for our stir fry, I'm just going to cook the chicken first with some salt and pepper and a little bit of sesame oil. In the meantime, I'm going to prep our stir fry sauce with some coconut aminos, some chicken broth, some honey, sesame oil, some ginger, and some arrowroot powder. Mix that together. And then once the chicken is done cooking, you're just going to set that aside for now. And then in the same pan, heat up some more olive oil and then add in your veggies with some minced garlic and our broccoli. And then I know this looks like a lot, but it does cook down quite a bit. So I just season that with some salt and pepper, cover it with the lid until the veggies get nice and tender. And then you're going to add the chicken back in with our stir fry sauce and let it cook for a couple minutes to thicken up. And then once everything is ready, you're just going to serve that over some rice. And then I also topped it off with a little bit of green onion and some sesame seeds. And this was so yummy. It's packed with fiber and so filling because of all the vegetables. Last but not least, we made chimichurri steak. Steak is my favorite dinner. We eat it at least once a week and I just mix it up with different sides. Tonight I made some roasted potatoes, and I learned recently that soaking your potatoes in cold water helps them cook crispier. So I just soaked them for about 5 minutes, strain them, add that back to a bowl with some avocado oil, some salt and pepper, and some thyme and some garlic powder. Mix that all together, add that to a baking sheet, and then you're going to roast these in the oven at 400 degrees for about 40 minutes until they're nice and crispy. And now I'm prepping our other side, which is just sauteed asparagus. I actually like how these cook better when I cut them in half, so that's what I did there. Cooked that with some minced garlic and some salt and pepper, and then covered it until they got nice and tender. And now I'm prepping the chimichurri sauce, which is some cilantro, parsley, some minced garlic, salt, pepper, red pepper flakes, oregano, olive oil, and some lemon juice. And then you just mix that in the food processor. And now it's time to cook up our steaks. I keep the seasoning really simple since we have the chimichurri sauce. So I just did salt, pepper, and some dried thyme. And then I'm not an expert by any means when it comes to cooking steak, but we just cook ours over some avocado oil, which has a high heat point, and then we try to get just some nice coloring on them, and we cook ours to about medium well done. All of our sides are done. It's time to plate up our meal with our potatoes, our asparagus, and our steak with the chimichurri sauce. This meal is so good, so packed with protein and so many micronutrients. It's my favorite. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys got some cooking inspiration from today's video. Leave a comment below what recipe you guys are most excited to try, and also leave a comment on some recipes that you've been loving cooking recently, and we can all just get some ideas from one another in the comment section. All of the recipes to everything shared will be in the description below. Please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to be a part of this community. I'm really grateful for each and every one of you. I hope you all have a beautiful week wherever you're at, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, friends.